All right, we're spinning the blue disc, which means that in any tick of the old clock, we will be live to air on YouTube. Let me just press that button, and happy days, away we go. Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome aboard. It's nice to have your company at this 4 minutes to the top of the hour, and of course 4 minutes to London session kicking off. And that's why we're here. We're here to witness what happens from the outset and see if we can find a way in to make some mooly dooly out of the whole shebang. Righto, this is Jeff coming to you live from Tasmania in Australia, and we're just about to be joined by Ash. G'day, mate.
G'day, mate. How are you doing?
Oh, I had a little heart attack there. I thought you weren't there. Yeah, look, going okay. No
Yeah.
complaints from me.
Uh,
All is well.
yeah. 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 Well, all's well here. We've got a trade to the upside that we're just managing right now. It's struggling a little bit. I have, strange things happened yesterday. We're just talking off air at how the technicals aren't really matching the fundamentals. But I had to listen to the Jerome Powell speech yesterday to try and garner some idea of direction. And I didn't think he said anything that would be that buoyant for the market. And actually, the market did sell off after on the back of Jerome Powell's speech. But overnight, we've had some further, I guess, easing in the rhetoric from the acceleration of the coronavirus spreading, and the Asian session actually had a bit of a pickup. So I'm still pretty bullish this market at this particular stage. I think overall, I'd like to see this market ease back a bit more significantly than it has done, and I've still got a kind of a bearish outlook, I suppose. The bigger picture, and we saw a couple of reversal signs yesterday on some of the bars on the global equities. But it just hasn't come back. So we're still going to stick with the trend for right now, mate, which is to the upside. How long it's got to run is hard to pick, but I think at some point we probably are going to come down fairly hard when people realise that the coronavirus isn't just a sneeze.
Yeah, look, they're treating it as such at the moment, and the headlines I'm hearing on news broadcasts are that the spread outside of China has slowed down. Still spreading, but the rate has slowed down. That's the
That's right.
headlines, and I think
Yeah.
you know, mm, I don't know. We as retail traders, are we really reading headlines? I mean, I know you and I aren't too much, but um, it it seems that there is no concern out there because of this risk on attitude the market seems to have. I don't get it, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
way it is. Look,
Yeah.
can you check on YouTube? I've got a funny feeling I just put us live to Facebook
Oh, okay.
instead
Is
of
that
YouTube.
possible?
Yes, it
Okay.
is. I
Okay.
don't- we might get a letter from Facebook. I don't know, but I
Oh, they
can't
might
see
let us
us.
play music.
I can't see us on YouTube at the moment. I've got to say.
Let me have a look. Um, what do we search for? London
Actions
Trade,
to
is it?
wealth,
Oh, actions to wealth.
and that should give it to you. Um, and for this reason, guys, if you are in the room, I can't respond because I can't see anything because I don't know if we're actually going live to YouTube. We should be, but I may have pressed the wrong button and we might be going live to Facebook, which would be a bit ordinary. In the meantime, I've got to set up the pound trade, so I better do that.
Yeah, you do that, mate.
And the pound looks very toppy at the moment, one would have to say. But let's look at
I don't know.
that. Can't see
Can't
us.
see that we're live.
Yeah, I've got
Oh,
a
hold
funny.
on. Here we go. Yeah, yeah. I got it. I got it.
It is live.
Uh, yeah, we're live, mate. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Must be just my connection or something. All right, all good. So all right, so let's set
Hey, Derek. Hey, Lewis.
this trade up. G'day, guys. Sorry I can't see your questions if you're there because I'm not logged into YouTube or I'm not seeing YouTube. But anyway, let's set up this trade, shall we? The long order for pound US dollar will be a buy at 129.85. So the buy stop at 129.85. The stop loss will be, look at us sandwiched right between those two pivots, mate. Woof. 129.40. 29.40 will be the stop loss for the buy stop. And we are at full risk. Again, those of you joining us for the first time, this is a beta test on a potential strategy that we're working on, where we're setting a buy order and we're setting a sell order at the very same time. I don't know why I can't see the buy order. There it is. There's no line. Anyway, we'll move on. The sell order, let's click OK on that. Go to a new setup. This one will be a pending order and a sell stop. And the entry level will be, forgotten already. There it is there. 129.40. And the stop loss will be at 129.85. That all sounds familiar. 1.2985. Alrighty. There we go. Now we can see the entry on the short, the long, and the stop on the short, of course. Don't like where this is, and I don't really like where that is either. This is not a good place to be trading, I've got to say. So if I were going to filter this in any way, shape, or form, I don't think I'd even take this trade. I think I'd just not take it. It's in a terrible position to trade, because the likelihood here is we'll get to here, maybe even back to this trend line, and then come back to the daily pivot, which is untested. If we go short, then we're likely to hit the daily pivot and bounce. I guess I'd prefer to go short than long based on that premise, but yeah, it ain't that easy. On the smaller time frame, you can see that we're at a pretty toppy level there. That said, we do have, it's very rough. We'll call it a head and shoulders there. We've had a neckline break and a retest. So maybe this is destined to go long. We might have a little bit of a talk about that in just a tick on the bigger time frames. But we've got the trade set. And again, for those of you who are here for the first time or not used to seeing this, we're trading a breakout short of today's range, or the last candle's range, as we go into London session actually, and we break out either side, high or low. Prefer to have my entry here or up here somewhere if I was to trade this in a filtered fashion or a far more constructive fashion. But this is the parameter that we're using at the moment, so that's why we're actually using those numbers. All right, so let's go back. Are you urgent, mate?
No, not at all, mate, no.
Okay, I used to have a pound chart here somewhere. There it is. That's actually meant to be there. And that's actually meant to be there. All right, so yesterday's trade, we got a little bit out of yesterday's trade. We had an entry right on this button here, pretty much exactly where our sell stop is today. That's interesting. Couldn't be any closer, I don't think. And we got taken in there. Had a little bit of a bumpy ride, it must be said, and that's a terrible place to get in as well. But our stop was well down here, so no drama. And then, of course, as soon as we got 2 buyer bars, we start to trail our stops, trailed to here, another 2 buyer bars turned up here, 1, 2, stops to here, another 2 buyer bars here, 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 stops to here. So we got just about as much as we could have out of that one yesterday. So that's a little bit more like what we're looking for. So happy days on that one. In terms of today, as I say on this chart, 15-minute chart looks a little bit toppy. We do have an untested daily pivot below us. That's always, oh my God, that just looks ridiculous. I can't do analysis on that chart. Try this one. Okay, that's a little bit better. So what we've seen here is the breakdown, and we spoke about this in the morning session, both yesterday, and I probably spoke about it yesterday in this session as well. We've had the breakdown of the horizontal level and the trend line, and now we're looking to retest the weekly pivot. That is really one reason I don't want to be taken in here, because what I would like to see there is a reversal bar at the weekly pivot, and then I think this is now a potential ABC to the short side. The alternate route, of course, would be if we get back above this broken resistance line, back above the weekly pivot and the trend line, and then retested them. That would be bullish, because it would signify a false break of the bottom of the range, and not the worst thing to happen, I've got to say. In fact, I'll be going for that if we do get taken in the long. I'd much rather see this get up here, retest it, and then shoot up and take a look at the highs. But I think anything can happen here. I'm not biased in any way. I think I'll let price tell me exactly what's about to happen next, and hopefully take advantage of that. So that's kind of where I'm at on the pound, mates. I see resistance dead ahead, and I wouldn't want to be trading into that. But it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens when we do get there, whether we can actually re-break it or whether it does act as resistance. And if it does, I think the pound is on a little bit of a float down to here somewhere, maybe 128. So there might be a nice 150 odd pips in that if we can find a way in. We shall see.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I don't have a great deal of confidence about the pound, but the numbers aren't they're not collapsing. I think that's the telling thing for me. It's not that they're particularly stellar, but they are by no means collapsing. So I wonder whether the pound might just get dragged down because of the dollar rather than the pound itself. It's holding fairly well against some of the other currencies. But it seems to be the dollar story that seems to be more at play than anything else. As it is with the euro and all those kind of all the other currencies as well. The dollar's holding up fairly well, isn't it?
Yeah, look, there's been a little bit of a retrace. I'll call it a retrace at this point. Certainly on anything except the euro. The euro is really in trouble, and that's no surprise to us. But that seems to be the weakest currency, or certainly the weakest major at the moment. Aussie continues to rally beyond my belief. The Kiwi, holy crap.
Yeah.
Did that get a nice little boost today with some news?
Yes, it did, didn't it? Yeah, I heard about that.
Sure did. Somebody was asking me in the morning show this morning, there was, I think it was Kiwi yen. Remember, yeah, it was Kiwi yen. And they were noticing the inverted head and shoulders here, and the potential for this to be a higher low. And what I didn't see at the time, which I should have seen straight away, if that was the case, then it was very, very interesting, because we ducked back below the broken, if you could call that a neckline. I suppose you could probably get away with calling it a neckline, but it's very ugly. But the broken re-break here. It kind of was a little bit messy, but double bottom, higher low, another higher low, I suppose. It was certainly, there was a hint that this may take off, but when the news hit, bang, look at it go. I hope that particular person actually got into this and was far more bravado than myself, who would have waited on that news and then tried to trade it. Too late, old chap. You would have missed the boat. Simple as that. Anyway, yeah, it seems to me that the rally against the dollar is on with the Aussie, certainly the Kiwi. You can put that down to news now, but the euro is lagging badly, and I don't know. It's now at a point where I guess, let me find that chart again, where I guess you've got to be thinking from a horizontal point of view anyway, that there may be a little bit of a bounce here today. That's the daily chart we're looking at. It's very, very close. There is a rejection bar off this low. Again, somebody was asking me, could they trade that? And I said, well, by all means, you can trade anything you like. But that's not in my vocabulary as a trader. I do understand that that is a nice little bar sitting on a support level, but I'd want to see a higher low before I got into that. Definitely oversold, and definitely a rally is due, and the weekly pivot would be an absolute perfect place for that to take place. There's been a nice level through here. Weekly pivot's bang on it, so a retrace back to here does get me interested in a short. Could I trade it back to there? Absolutely, I could, but I want to see something a little bit more convincing than just a single bar. Not for me, and I'm not saying for 1 second it can't go there. Of course it can, and this could well be the signal, but I'd want to wait for that higher low, as I said. You want to have a look at the FTSE, mate, and I'll come back and have a look at the rest a little bit later.
Yeah,
I'm
sure,
not
mate. Yeah,
the first candle as normal.
Interesting moves really with a FTSE. It's not so attractive at the minute. Where's the what can I share? Here we go. Yeah, this is what we got. We've had a fairly substantive move back to the downside. This is another buying opportunity for right now. You know that the the trend is up, so just struggled at that level there. But this is a potential buying opportunity right here. So let's say we get a bounce at this particular point. I'm not seeing too much in the way of positivity right now. There's still kind of like there's still plenty of selling going on. So if this is to bounce, it may not be the right time to get anything else to the long side. But I think it could be an interesting day, Matt. And I think, as we were saying earlier on, I think it's going to be one of those that you might have to sit back a little bit today. There's a couple of concerning signals here. Now, let me show you, what was that last one? 6865. Right, yeah, a couple of concerning points, and the concerning points really are on the US market. This bar here is maybe a slight concern with the FTSE 100. S&P kind of showed something similar. It looks like a bit of a high test area there. The Dow Jones Industrials, same thing, not able to kind of get those fresh highs, so that's under a bit of pressure. And I thought the Nasdaq was the most telling. I think this is the cleanest of all the potential reversal bars. And as I say, that was off the back of a fairly weak sounding speech from Jerome Powell. So there's a few signals that we got to be a little bit cautious about with the market. Now, I am seeing just a little bit more buying pressure coming into play now. So there's probably going to be a bounce at this particular point on the FTSE, but let's see if that does materialize. Yeah, that's pretty good actually for a bounce. So if you're not long already, then it's not too bad an area get in, which is exactly what I may well do. There we go.
Good.
Yeah, I'm just adding to a position here. So you probably would want a stop at the low so you can keep it nice and tight. I'm just adding to a long position here at this particular stage. And you can see why there should be a bounce point. Let's just bring this in. There's a pivot right there. And it looks like there's some buying pressure kind of coming into play. So could dip down a little bit further, but there's also a trend line as well. Let's focus on the 4 hour instead in that area as well. So it's a pretty good buy zone. And as I say, I am just seeing a little bit of brighter buying pressure coming into play. I'm just watching the bar, and you might prefer to wait until this bar is closed before you get on board here. There is some looks like there's some decent buying pressure coming into play here, so not a bad place to get back in again here. And you might want to swap out a long in a slightly different area if you like. If you're long slightly high, you might want to buy in here and then switch it out, just because there's that potential weakness. So we probably want to get stops to break even, mate. I'd say with this market right now, we need to trade the long. We need to be trading to the upside and looking at these markets long, but it's a little bit uncomfortable. Got to say, mate, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with the overall picture of this right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but that's all I have, mate. I don't really have a lot else. I think there's going to be a bit of management going on for me today, so I probably need to get on with that because of just the way that the markets are moving. I don't want to be caught in a long which may well turn around, given what we just looked at with the daily bars on the Nasdaq, the Dow, and the S&P. I've just taken something here, but I am quite willing to bail out and just leave the shorts, let the shorts do their thing instead, because there's just still that suspicion for me. And the coronavirus, I don't understand the rally. I think that's my big thing. I don't really get this rally. It seems to be
apparently it's only you and me.
Well, they don't understand the rally.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
But yep.
It makes no sense, mate. It makes no sense whatsoever, this rally. The last major rally we had was off the back of Donald Trump and Xi Jinping signing a trade deal, which even that was a little bit suspect for me because of what the detail was. But I understood the speculation, but the fact that people are buying up on something being less bad, they're not sort of like thinking this is going to be good. They're buying up on things that are going to be less bad. That's I just find a little bit strange.
Look, the one thing I suppose both you and I understand more than anything else is that at times there is no explanation. It just is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, just trust the technicals, because that's what the technicals are saying. Go long. So right now, let's just stick with the trend.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'll give you some breathing space and take a look at some currency pairs that we might be able to find something of a trade on. And again, going back to exactly the same theme, the Aussie keeps rallying, and I'm just going to have a bigger picture look at that and see if I'm actually wrong or I'm just waiting, as I have been patiently for the longest time. Let's start with the euro, however, and go back and talk about that. The euro has, at this stage, completed what I believe to be the cycle of the head and shoulders pattern that we spotted here about 3-4 weeks ago, and that beautiful retest here. That was the candle to take, guys. If we weren't in on that, then we really missed out on a golden opportunity here, I think. And we have virtually gone with one big retracement on down to this level here, as I said before. So I think that sequence is now probably over. Let me go a little bit wider. And we now look for a retracement of some kind. How long, how strong, how deep, goodness only knows. And that's what I'm seeing with the Aussie at the moment. How long, how strong, how deep, no idea. But all we can do is look at the chart and look at potential areas for this to rally to and then bounce from. So the first one is pretty much where I've got that red line being on 109.86 as I've got it. You could probably read that as a 110 area. But if we look at that now back on the smaller time frame, that becomes the weekly pivot. And as I said before, that's where I'd want to be looking for the first round of shorts. If I was not taken in there, as I haven't been twice now on Aussie yen, the next level I'd be looking for is probably just below the monthly pivot, really, in that area there. So that's around about the 110.75 mark. And if it starts to get up to that area, we can probably start thinking trend line or bottom or top of the range, which of course is this thing that I've had on the chart for the longest time. In fact, I took it off the chart, but look at it, it's still there and price is still reacting off it. So I've got no reason to think that we won't get down here in time, and I've got no reason to think that we won't get here in time. So which comes first, the chicken or the egg, folks, is the question. And as always, the way we deal with that is once we get to the level that we're expecting a bounce from, we look for setups. And if the setups are there, we take the trade. In the first instance, we probably start a little bit light on. And then if we get a retracement off that and a lower high in this case, we look to build on that, etc., etc. And if we get taken out of that one, then we can look to trade this one. Same. So that's exactly the attitude that I have on the euro dollar. Still a bear, absolutely still a bear. But at the moment, I think there's definitely room for the bulls to, or let's call it profit taking, shall we? There's definitely room for people to be taking profit off the table here. And as I say, the first port of call to me looks to be around about that 110 area and the weekly pivot mark. So how do we trade that today? Well, same as always, we look for a reason. Let me get rid of that. We look for a reason to go long, and I don't see one right now, I must say. We need to have a confluence and we need to have a potential reversal. We've probably got that. You could call that a hammer. You could call that a bullish engulfing bar. You could call that a higher low. But doesn't really suit my candles that I like to trade, nor is it at a real confluence area. So let's put a confluence area in play if we can find one. We've probably got to go down to here, but it's messy. It's just running along a line at the moment. Yeah, I can't see any joy in that at all, to be fair. I don't like the trend line, don't like the trade line. So the trade line for me will be this one here, where I've got 3 tests. So that's going to be above price. No, it's only 2.5 really. Let's call it 2.5. But I think that's the one for me. And what I would like to see here now, after the, well, it is still potential, but it looks very much like it will be a higher low. I'd like to see this break and retest this trade line, and then I can look to trade it long. I'd want an entry very, very close to this line though, because the closer I get to DR2, the less likely I am to trade. And there is another little level there, bang on that DR2 as well. So it won't be easy to get in along here, but that would be my bias on the smaller time frames, but with very small risk on the table. Maybe that trade line through there is better now on the 30-minute chart. We can put that in, I think. Yeah, that's a bit more like it. Okay, so we've got the break. We've got the higher low, and really all we need now is a retest. But we need to take out the high of the day as well. So take out the high of the day, come back and retest. Why was I seeing DR2? Oh, because I was on the bigger time frame. Okay, all good. So this one here is the one that we use. Probably like to take this high out as well. But a retest here gets me interested in. So we'll come back and have a look at that a little bit later, perhaps. Aussie yen, which again I had a little hiccup on yesterday. Or was that the day before? Can't remember. No, it was yesterday. Let me get rid of that. Where we attempted to go short as a false break, pretty much of the monthly pivot. You can't really see it too clearly on there. Trying to update the chart here. Okay, so there was a trend line coming through, or a trade line coming through here, which is was giving me a double dose, if you like, of break, back underneath, retest. We tried to enter short here. We did enter short here, but it was very short-lived. Unless you took a very quick first take profit, you would have got kabanged straight out of that trade with what happened next. And here we are again today, going long, long, long. Gee whiz. And with some gusto at the moment against the yen, as the risk on mentality of the market is exemplified by this. Look, it's not beyond belief, as I said before. The market does what the market does. It's going to get interesting here, however. Let me correct that line, which probably comes from here. So it is going to get interesting once we get back to this level here. If we get back above it and retest it, my goodness, that's a bullish signal. At the moment, we've still got in place a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, interesting higher low. She's a mess for me. So I won't be doing anything on this one at all until I get to this level. This is the daily chart, and obviously you're going to expect that that will be retested. I don't want to do anything here right now, but I'm still on full alert trying to catch a short. But as I said before and said yesterday, what I'm always looking for is a break of resistance, and that to be proved false. That's what I got from the monthly pivot yesterday, but the false break proved to be a false break, if you like. And here we are again above more resistance. If we got back underneath this and retested it, I'd do exactly the same thing again. I'd look for the short. But at the moment, you've probably got a case for a bullish engulfing bar, a significant higher low, and really not much significance thereafter at this point. No trade for me on Aussie yen today. Aussie Swissy did exactly the same thing, and I did place an order on Aussie Swissy as well. However, it didn't do exactly the same thing. What it did do was rallied first, then came back underneath. So by the time this had happened, my order had expired, and so there's no trade there for me on Aussie Swissy. So we managed to split that risk, and therefore the risk that I took a hit on Aussie yen was only reasonably small at 0.25%. Pardon me. I risked 0.5% over the two pairs. So no major damage done, but I am giving a little bit back from the trade that I took on Aussie yen a couple of weeks ago. And that doesn't please me, but I guess the net result is still positive. We are at a strong, well, I won't call it strong, that's not true. We are at a resistance level, which is caused by the recent high here. If this goes today, then there's every reason to think that will go in the first instance to 66.13, which is this level here, just above DR2. There's no way I'd be trading that, of course, but I will be looking for the alternate, which is to come back this side. I don't have anything to suggest that that's going to happen anytime soon right now. In fact, this is just a mess across this trend line. It's got to go, in fact. That's the new trend line for me. Again, break, consolidate back underneath, get underneath the pivots, retest the trend line, and I'll look to play it short. So I'm trading a false break as always. Once I get to a resistance level, that's what I'm looking for. Dollar CAD has got away. We wanted to trade this short, and very difficult, and you've got to break rules to get into this. This was the candle to trade, this one here yesterday. And we were bang on the weekly pivot. And I said, I'm pretty sure I said at the time, what I want to see here is a break and retest of the trend line, and we can take this short. It looks now, if we get through this level, certainly that was a pretty good way to go. I don't know that we're going to get another retest here. That's the issue. Don't know how we're going to get into this, guys. But yeah, I was keen on finding a way into this. You maybe could have taken that one, but I was actually in the show this morning. I was calling for that to be a bullish bar, and if it was, then I would have taken the trade underneath it. It looks as though the market just doesn't want to play my game at the moment, and I'm actually in a trade short US dollar CAD, but it's not this trade that has set up. So I'm pleased that that's the case, but I also wanted to get you guys into it as well with a nice little retest here. Got the retest, but not the timing. Aussie US dollar, again, exactly the same applies as the other Aussie pairs. I need a resistance break, turn into a false break. Aussie Kiwi, the Kiwi took off this morning, as we are all aware, on the back of that news. Look, this to me is probably a sucker punch, but you know, I'll wait and see what happens here, because we have broken a support trade line, and this is the reverse of what I'm looking for on the Aussie, right?
My management's done, mate. Just so you know, I'm okay now. Yeah,
right,
well done.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me some time there.
No drama. So really, what we need to see here is this bar, and I'm on a 4-hour chart. This bar consolidate or continue to consolidate, then price get back above it and retest it. That would then suit me for a long. And again, I can't really believe I'm saying long Aussie, but that seems to be the case. If I go to the smaller time frames, that's probably going to happen far quicker. Now, this is a really sneaky one. In fact, I won't put it on because I'll be misleading you. This could become a trade line.
Jeez.
This is no longer, this is still a 4-hour trade line, so it's not applicable to this chart. So let's get rid of it. Yeah, look, the only way I can trade this long now really is to see it duck underneath here, then come back above, take out this high, hit the trend line from above, and go. And I'll be okay with that. I think that's not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, trading long with the Aussie is a crazy thing. And so it is with Aussie CAD. I'm very, very mindful that we're at the bottom of a range here. We've come back inside the range, and generally I'll be looking for a higher low to get me into the move towards the top of the range. I would have to do that if I got a break and retest of this trend line. The problem would be, if that were the case, I'm then in DR2 plus territory, and I don't like to be there. If it were to happen today that we do break out of here and come back and retest that, then tomorrow morning we were still in that position, different story. Then I could look to trade this long with some confidence. I would still trade it if it happens now, like if it happens in the next 5 or 6 hours or whatever the case may be. So up and back, there is probably still a high risk entry there to go long, a lower risk entry there to go long. I would still take that, but it would be very small risk because of the position that we are in terms of the pivots and where they are. So, mate, I really don't have too much. I'm afraid that it's the same old story. It's just waiting for resistance to break and then come back underneath. I'll very, very quickly go back through the 30-minute charts. There's nothing there. There's going to be nothing there. Dollar CAD's got to come back, and it doesn't look like doing that anytime soon. In fact, that looks to be on its way. Aussie Swissy, it'll be the same, but getting near to the point where, sorry about that, getting near to the point where I'll be looking for this resistance to break, and then we look for false breaks, right? So anything that's a confluence here, we've got that trade line coming through here that could be useful. So back underneath here, retest short. Aussie yen looks to be on its way, doesn't it? Really does. But this is the area I want to have a look at. So nothing here just yet. Euro dollar, same. Break resistance underneath retest, or here underneath retest, and away we go. But we are seeing higher lows at the moment, and we've taken out, well, just about to take out the most recent high, which was yesterday's high. So there's a lot to suggest that these things can go long, and pound US dollar, I'm waiting for that to hit this area as well. So that's it, mate. There's not a whole lot more for me to say either. I know exactly what to do, but the market seems to be playing ball right now.
Okay, mate. Well, let me just wrap up with the FTSE then. The FTSE is, it did give us a lovely little rally from that particular point. So hopefully some of you got on board with that. Why can't I take this screen? Sorry, mate. You need to stop.
Okay, I shouldn't disappear this time. I only disappear the first time.
Here we go. Yeah, got a lovely little rally from this point, and you can see that the market really did take off from the daily pivot. So that proved to be a decent entry there.
That glorious daily pivot, eh?
Yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now it has struggled again up here now because of we're in an uptrend. So the best thing to do is hold on to it. But we may make nothing out of this. But I think it's quite important now just to put those stops at break even. I don't think it would be wise to hold on to fall in love with this chart, really because of exactly what I was saying before about the other charts. Now the trend is the most important aspect, and really for us to take it, if we get taken out down here, then the trend has got some weakness. Now it's going to struggle to get through this point, but at some point it will get through. So the question is, have we got our timing right? And it doesn't matter if we haven't, because if we haven't, then we'll try and get in again. But for right now, I've moved those stops to the upside to break even, and I'm just going to see if this area now holds. And if it doesn't, then I'll be out. But I'll be out at break even, which is the significant thing. But if it does, then we should have a free trade, and then who knows where it goes. And we'll continue to go long with this market. And just allow this one to see if it can develop. This is the current look of the bars. That's the 5-minute bar. Huge volume actually kicking through. A lot of volume. A lot of volume took us through to that level. Let's just have a look at the situation here with the volume. Now, if I've missed one. No, that's significant volume down again, really. So there's a lot of flip-flopping going on here. But as I say, let's just stick with the overall the picture of the trend. But yeah, there's quite a lot of volume going through the market right now, and that could be indicative of a market which is about to reverse. But if it reverses, then we just we get into our shorts and just allow those to develop. But for right now, I think we got a decent enough price down at the daily pivot to suggest that we should stay with it, because really this was a little hold area here. So if it's going to hold, it will hold here. If it breaks down, the likelihood is we really could break down quite significantly. So for right now, the most important thing is, I think, get your stops to break even. If it comes out and takes them out, then look again and see if there's enough sign and signal that it's going to reverse again and then go long again. But there's no point in trying to time something on the first time around if it's actually the second time round that it's going to kick. So that's where we're at, mate. But for everybody should be, if you traded it with me, then you should be free trading now.
Free trade, yummy. That's what we want to hear.
Yes, that's exactly what we need, mate. Sorry about the the little delay, but the management sort of aspect of it can be a little bit intense for me.
Well, you only got 40,000 things to do at once. What's wrong with you?
No, I don't know, mate. I don't think my brain has the capacity to do more than one thing. It's just I can focus really well on one thing, but I'm not very good when I get you know, more than that kind of coming at me, which is why, you know, having what I pick my daughter up in the afternoon, and we kind of play together, which is why I like to get my trays done in the morning and then see if they can run. But when, you know, that doesn't happen, which can happen, it can be the US session which really starts to kick, then I have to stick her in front of Peter Rabbit or something for the afternoon. She loves it, but but it's not the best, really, not the best lesson for her, really. And I'm not really a big TV fan, so it's kind of goes against my chi.
In fair enough. I think we've got a visitor in the room saying hello to everyone for us, which is wonderful. The screen is clear in answer to your question, LT. Don't know. No idea why you've got a blur. I don't have a blur off air, in other words, on YouTube, which I can now see. So, yeah, don't know, mate. Maybe a bandwidth issue or there's some other problem, but I really can't answer your question to a satisfactory degree. So we're in a wrap situation, guys.
Yeah,
I'm in patience mode. Ash is in management mode. That seems to be the trend of the week, and that's okay as long as there's something going on, and you guys are happy to be here, and we're very happy to have you, of course. Thank you all for your hellos and questions. We will catch you tomorrow when we'll do it all again. When?
5 to 8, mate.
5 to 8, that's a date. Don't you be late, guys. See you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye for now.